The rain fell in a fine mist over the old coastal town, wrapping the streets in a damp gray veil. On the worn-out pier, Claire stood still, clutching a faded photograph in her hands. A photo she had found inside an old desk drawer in her late mother's house just 3 days ago. The photo showed her mother, young and smiling, standing next to a man Claire had never seen before. The man's hand rested gently on her mother's shoulder. And though the image was decades old, there was something unsettling in his gaze. It's a mixture of familiarity and threat. The back of the photo had only one line. It's written in hurried pen strokes, "For when the past comes looking." Claire's childhood was filled with gaps, questions her mother had never answered, and a persistent sense that something was missing or being kept from her. Her mother Elena had passed away without leaving any explanation. This photograph was the only clue, a silent fragment of a bigger, hidden story in the past 2 days. Claire had tried searching online, flipping through old newspapers and community archives, but nothing matched the man's face. Until this morning, when she opened her front door to find an envelope lying on the mat. Inside was a single note typed in neat black letters, "You're not safe. Meet me at Dock 7 tonight. I know who he is." The signature at the bottom reads simply, Michael. Claire didn't know anyone named Michael. And yet her hands trembled. Not from fear, but from the strange pull of a truth that had been buried for far too long. Asterisk, the night air smelled of salt and rust as Claire made her way toward Dock 7. The old pier stretched out into the black water, its wooden planks creaking. Under her footsteps, a single lamppost flickered at the far end, casting a pale yellow glow over the empty dock. She checked her phone. 10:57 p.m. Michael had written tonight, but nothing more. Her eyes scanned the shadows, alert for movement. She wasn't sure whether she was walking toward danger or answers, perhaps both. The wind whipped through her coat, sending a shiver down her spine. She wrapped her scarf tighter, glancing once more at the photograph tucked inside her bag. That same unsettling face stared back at her from the glossy paper, as if mocking her for coming. Footsteps echoed behind her. Claire turned sharply. A tall man in a dark jacket approached, his features partly hidden beneath the brim of a weathered cap. He stopped a few feet away, hands raised slightly as if to show he meant no harm. "Claire." His voice was low, roughened by years of cigarettes. Or storms, maybe both. "Yes," she replied, hesitating. "Are you Michael?" He nodded. "I'm sorry for contacting you like this, but you need to know. Your mother was in danger once. The man in the photograph, he wasn't just someone from her past. He's still alive. And if he knows you found that photo," Claire's pulse quickened. "Who is he?" Michael looked out toward the dark horizon, as though measuring how much truth she could handle in one night. His name was Daniel Cross. Back in the 80s, he was involved in something ugly. Your mother was a witness, testified against him under a different name. Claire felt as though the air had been sucked from her lungs. A witness? To what? Michael's gaze met hers, steady and unflinching. Murder. The word hung in the air between them, heavy and irrevocable. Michael reached into his coat and pulled out a worn leather folder. Inside were yellowed documents, faded photographs, and a few newspaper clippings. He handed them to her one by one, each piece a fragment of a story that had been buried for decades. Claire's hands shook as she skimmed headlines. Local businessman found dead, suspect at large. Key witness vanishes before trial. In a grainy photo at the bottom of one article, she saw him, the same man from her mother's photograph, standing beside police officers, his expression unreadable. She disappeared after that night. Michael continued. Changed. Her name moved here and started over. But Daniel Cross never forgot her. I think he's been looking for her all these years. And now his eyes drifted to the bag where the photograph was hidden. Now he might know where to find you. Claire's mind raced. The pieces didn't fit neatly. They clashed, splintered. Why hadn't her mother told her? Why live in silence and fear instead of warning her? Before she could ask more, Michael's head jerked toward the parking lot. A pair of headlights flared in the distance, sweeping. "Across the dock, we don't have much time," he said, his voice urgent now. "If you want the truth, all of it, you have to come with me. But if you stay here, you'll be on your own." Claire hesitated, the cold night pressing in around her. Her instincts screamed at her to walk away, to retreat into the safety of ignorance. But another voice, quieter, sharper, whispered that this was her one chance to finally understand who her mother had been. She looked into Michael's eyes, searching for a reason to trust him. Then, without a word, she nodded. Michael exhaled almost in relief and motioned toward a black sedan parked near the edge of the lot. As they walked, the headlights behind them grew brighter. Claire didn't look back. The sedan's engine purred softly as Michael drove them away from the docks, heading inland. The streets were nearly empty, the glow of the streetlights stretching into blurred lines on the wet asphalt. Claire sat in the passenger seat, clutching the leather folder Michael had given her. She hadn't opened it again, not yet. They drove in silence for several minutes before she finally spoke. "Why now? This man's been looking for my mother for decades. Why would he surface after she's gone?" Michael kept his eyes on the road, "Because he thinks the trail leads to you now. People like Daniel Cross, they hold grudges for life. He doesn't care that your mother's dead. He just wants to erase anyone who might still hold the truth about him." Claire's grip on the folder tightened. "And you? How do you know all of this?" His jaw clenched. "I was there. Not when the murder happened, but in the years after. I was a rookie cop when your mother testified. I helped her disappear." That admission hung heavy between them. Claire didn't know whether to feel grateful or suspicious. "So, what are you now? Some kind of private investigator?" "Not exactly," Michael said, a shadow of something unreadable crossing his face. "Let's just say I've been keeping an eye on certain people. And when I saw your name pop up in some places it shouldn't, I knew I had to act." Rain began to patter harder against the windshield. Michael turned down a narrow country road, the darkness outside pressing close. "Where are we going?" Claire asked. "A safe place, at least for tonight. Somewhere we can talk without being interrupted." The phrase "safe place" should have been comforting, but instead it prickled at the back of her mind. She glanced at her phone, no signal. The thought of being out here away from anyone else made her pulse race. Michael seemed to sense her unease. "You're wondering if you can trust me?" She didn't answer. "You should," he added quietly, "because after tonight you might not have anyone else." They pulled up to a small cabin tucked deep in the woods. It was old but well kept, the porch light glowing warmly against the dark. Inside, the air smelled faintly of cedar and coffee. Michael motioned for her to sit at a sturdy wooden table. He placed a thermos and 2 cups between them, then slid the leather folder toward her again. "This is everything I could gather," he said. "Not all of it is easy to read." Claire hesitated, then opened the folder. More photographs spilled out, crime scene images, police sketches, grainy surveillance shots. One in particular made her stop. Her mother younger, sitting in what looked like a police station. Her face was pale, her eyes wide with fear. That was taken the night she agreed to testify, Michael explained. Shot Daniel Cross shoot a man, Thomas Rourke, a dock worker who'd been stealing from him. Your mother was in the wrong place at the wrong time. After that, she was in danger. Claire traced the edge of the photo with her finger. She couldn't reconcile the image of the frightened young woman with the quiet, cautious mother she had known. "Why didn't she tell me?" she murmured. "Because if she did, you'd have been a target too," Michael said simply. "The less you knew, the safer you were." Claire closed the folder, the weight of its contents pressing down on her. "And now?" Michael's eyes darkened. "Oh, it's too late for that." A sound outside, faint but sharp, made them both turn toward the window. The porch light swayed slightly, casting long shadows across the floor. Michael rose, moving to the front door. "Stay here," he whispered, but Claire's instinct screamed otherwise. She stood, heart hammering as the sound came again, footsteps slow and deliberate. Crunching against the wet leaves, dot, and then a knock, dot, 3 slow. Heavy raps against the cabin door. Michael froze mid-step, one hand hovering over the doorknob. The knock came again, 3 slow thuds that seemed to reverberate through the small cabin. Claire's breath quickened. "Who is it?" she whispered. Michael didn't answer. Instead, he motioned for her to back away from the door. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small revolver, the metal glinting in the dim light. The knock turned into a voice, low, rough, and calm. "Michael, I know you're in there." Claire felt the air drain from the room. She didn't recognize the voice, but Michael's reaction told her everything he did. "Stay behind me," he murmured. Then, louder, "What do you want, Cross?" Stomach clenched. Cross. The name from the file. Just a conversation. The voice outside said, "And the girl. We both know she's the reason you've been hiding out here." Michael's grip on the gun tightened. "You're not getting her." A chuckle from the other side of the door, cold and humorless. "You think you're her guardian angel. Please, you've been lying to her just as much as her mother did." Claire's eyes darted to Michael. "What's he talking about?" Michael didn't answer. He stepped closer to the door, his voice firm. "Leave, Daniel. This doesn't end the way you think it will." But the next sound wasn't retreating footsteps. It was the splintering crack of wood as the door shuddered under. A heavy kick run. Michael hissed. Claire bolted toward the back of the cabin. Behind her, the door gave way with a violent crash. Heavy boots pounded against the wooden floor. She barely made it to the back hallway before a shadow moved in front of her. A tall man stood blocking the way, his rain-soaked coat dripping onto the floor. His eyes were sharp, assessing, and disturbingly calm. "Claire," he said, her name rolling off his tongue like he'd said it many times before. She stumbled back, but he didn't advance. Instead, he held up both hands. "I'm not here to hurt you. I need you to hear me out before he feeds you more lies." Michael's voice roared from behind. "Get away from her." In the next heartbeat, Michael was between them, his revolver aimed squarely at the man's chest. Last warning, Cross. But Daniel Cross didn't flinch. He looked directly at Claire. "Has he told you what really happened the night your mother testified? Or did he skip the part where he was the one who handed her over to the people? Who tried to kill her?" The words hit like ice water. Claire's gaze snapped to Michael. His expression didn't change, but his silence was louder than denial. "That's not true," Michael said finally, but his voice lacked the certainty. It had before. Daniel took a slow step forward. She trusted him, and he sold her out. "The only reason she survived was because I got there first." "That's a lie," Michael snapped. Claire's mind spun. Her chest felt tight, like she couldn't get enough air. "Why should I believe either of you?" she demanded. "Because you've seen the file," Daniel said evenly. "Did you notice anything missing? Like the fact that your mother and I weren't strangers?" Her pulse roared in her ears. "She never told you about me?" Daniel continued, his voice low. "Because I'm your father." The world seemed to tilt. Claire stared at him, searching his face for some sign, some proof that this wasn't just another manipulation. But in the set of his jaw, the shape of his eyes, there was something familiar. Michael shook his head. "Don't listen to him, Claire. He's been running this con for years. You're not his daughter. He's trying to pull you in so he can use you." Daniel's gaze didn't leave hers. "I don't need to use you. I just need you to know the truth before he makes you disappear like he almost did to your mother." Somewhere deep in the woods, a branch snapped, followed by the faint sound of approaching footsteps. Not one set, but several. Daniel's eyes flicked to the window, his voice urgent now. "We're out of time. You have to choose who you trust. Right now." Asterisk, the sound of footsteps outside grew louder, heavy, deliberate, and multiplied. Whoever was coming wasn't trying to be quiet. Michael swore under his breath. They found us. Claire's mind was still spinning from Daniel's claim, but there was no time to process. Michael grabbed her arm, pulling her toward the back. Exit. Daniel stepped in the way. She's not going anywhere with you, Daniel said sharply. Michael raised his revolver again. You're not taking her. The first shadow passed by the broken front door. Then another. Figures in dark clothing fanned out, moving toward the cabin from both sides. Federal agents? Claire asked, panic in her voice. Daniel shook his head grimly. No, much worse. Glass shattered as one of the windows blew inward. A man in a black mask climbed through. Followed by another dot, Michael fired 2 deafening shots, and the men dropped instantly. But more were coming. Daniel moved quickly, grabbing Claire's wrist. If you want to live, we have to move. Now. For a split second, she hesitated between the man who claimed to be her father and the man who had been protecting her for the past 2 days. But then Michael shouted, "Run!" and fired again. Daniel didn't wait for her decision. He yanked her toward a side door just as more masked men flooded the front room. The 3 of them burst into the rain-soaked night, boots splashing through puddles. The forest swallowed them in darkness, but the sound of pursuit followed close behind. Branches snapping, leaves crunching under fast, heavy steps. This way. Daniel called, pulling Claire ahead. Michael stayed behind them, firing shots into the trees to slow their pursuers. They're trying to flank us, he yelled. Not if we reach the boat first, Daniel replied. A flash of light cut through the woods, a flashlight beam darting wildly. Voices shouted orders in the distance. Claire's lungs burned as they ran, her legs aching. Boat. She gasped. There's a dock half a mile from here, Daniel said without looking back. If we get there, we can disappear. Michael's voice came from behind, clipped and urgent. Don't believe him, Claire. He's not taking you anywhere safe. Claire felt torn apart inside. The pounding rain, the fear, the confusion, and above it all, the gnawing question of who was telling the truth. The trees began to thin, revealing the faint outline of water ahead. But as they broke through the last line of trees, Claire froze. The dock wasn't empty. 3 men stood waiting, all armed, their eyes locked on them. Drop the gun, Michael, one of them shouted. Michael's steps faltered. You've got to be kidding me, he muttered. Daniel pulled Claire behind him. These aren't my people, he said quickly. If they go with them, you'll disappear into a hole you'll never crawl out of. One of the men stepped forward. Claire, we're here to take you somewhere safe. Your mother wanted this. The words slammed into her like a punch. Your mother wanted this. What? She demanded. You knew my mother? The man's face softened, but only for a moment. He protected her, and we promised her we'd protect you, too. But you have to come with us now. Daniel moved closer. To her ear, they're lying. If you go with them, you'll never learn the truth. Behind them, the sound of more pursuers crashed through the forest. They were out of time. Michael's voice was urgent, almost desperate. Claire, choose. Now. Rain pounded against the wooden dock. 3 men in front of her, unknown numbers behind. 2 men on either side, both claiming to be the ones she could trust. Her chest rose and fell in ragged breaths. She had seconds to decide and no way of knowing if she'd survive whichever choice she made. Claire's mind was a storm. Rain blurred her vision, the dock lights casting ghostly reflections on the black water. She could feel Michael's tense grip on her left arm, Daniel's steady but firm hand on her right. Both men were waiting for her word. The masked men in front were waiting too. Guns never wavering. Every instinct screamed at her to run. But there was nowhere left to run. Michael spoke first, his voice low, urgent. Claire, your mother trusted me. She told me things she never told anyone else. If you go with them, you'll never hear the truth. Daniel cut in sharply. And if you go with him, you'll be walking into the hands of the people who destroyed her life. The man at the front of the armed trio raised his voice over the rain. Enough talking, Claire. You're coming with us. Now. Her pulse thundered in her ears. The photo in her pocket, her mother and the unknown man seemed to burn against her leg, the writing on the back for when the past comes looking. Claire took a step forward, tightened his grip. No, she said, her voice surprisingly steady. No one moves until I get answers. Daniel gave a short, bitter laugh. There's no time for this. There is, if I say there is, Claire shot back. No more running, no more lies. Who was the man in the photo? Michael's jaw clenched. Daniel's eyes flicked toward the armed men, then back to her. Finally, Daniel spoke. It was me. The words hit her like a thunderclap. You. She whispered, double quotes, yes. That picture was taken the night before your mother disappeared for 3 months. She wasn't hiding from the law, she was hiding from them, he said, nodding toward the armed men. That's a lie. The leader barked. She was under our protection. He's twisting the story. Michael stepped forward, fury flashing in his eyes. You hunted her. You wanted what she had and you killed anyone who got in your way? What did she have? Claire demanded. Daniel looked at her, his gaze heavy with something that felt like regret. Evidence? Proof of everything these people had done. And she hid it in a place only you can find. The leader's voice was ice. And now she's dead, which means it belongs to us. Michael's gun swung up, aimed squarely at the man's head, over my dead body. The standoff stretched taut, every breath a trigger. Claire's heart pounded so hard she thought it might burst. Then chaos from the darkness behind them. More figures emerged, weapons drawn. The air filled with shouting, the sharp crack of gunfire. Splinters flew from the dock posts, the wood. Shuddering under the barrage, Michael shoved Claire toward the edge. Boat, now. Daniel caught her before she stumbled into the water, hauling her toward a small motorboat tied to the side. Bullets whined past. The armed men returned fire. The dock a blur of movement and noise. Someone screamed. Claire didn't know who. She and Daniel tumbled into the boat. Michael jumped in after them, slashing the rope free. The engine roared to life, and the boat shot forward into the black water, leaving the burning chaos of the dock behind. For a long moment, only the rain and the hum of the engine filled the silence. Then Claire turned to Daniel, her voice barely above a whisper. Where is it? The evidence. Daniel's eyes met hers, and in that moment she knew the answer would change everything. Daniel didn't answer right away. His eyes searched hers as if weighing whether she could handle what he was about to say. Rain dripped from his hair, running down his face in dark rivulets. Finally, he spoke. Not where it's who. Claire frowned. What are you talking about? The evidence, Daniel said slowly, isn't in a box or a file. It's in you. The words landed like a physical blow. In me. That doesn't make any sense. Michael, still scanning the dark water for pursuers, glanced over his shoulder. She's telling the truth. Your mother, she was part of something much bigger. She didn't just collect evidence, she was the evidence. Daniel nodded. Before you were born, your mother worked inside their organization. She gathered information, names, transactions, everything. But when she realized they were going to kill her, she did something none of us expected. She had the most critical information encoded. Claire's voice was shaking. Encoded where? In your DNA, Daniel said. Her breath caught. Impossible. It's not, Michael said. Not for them. It's not for what they're capable of. Your mother made sure you'd be safe as long as no one knew. That's why she kept you hidden. Why she never told you the truth. But they found out and they killed her to get to you. Claire's mind spun. The photograph, the note, the men at the dock. None of it was random. Daniel's voice dropped. She gave me that photo as a warning. She knew this day would come, and she told me when it did, I had to protect you, no matter what. Michael's gaze met hers, and for the First time there was something softer there. Not urgency, not fear, but something like apology. Claire, the reason I contacted you wasn't just to help you. It was because I need what's in you. And so does he. Her heart skipped. You're not on the same side? No, Michael said flatly. We never were. Daniel's hand tightened on the wheel, the boat slicing through the dark water. You have a choice, Claire. Come with me, and I'll get you to a safe place where we can figure out how to extract it. Or go with him, and he let the words hang. Michael finished. For him, or come with me, and I can end this. Tonight, before anyone else dies. The rain had stopped, but the cold still cut deep. Claire looked between them, the man who claimed to have been her mother's protector, and the stranger who said he could finish the fight. Somewhere in the black distance, faint lights shimmered on the water. Another boat. Closing in fast, Claire stood slowly, feeling the rocking of the boat beneath her feet. Her voice was steady, but inside she was trembling. You both think you know what's best for me. But here's the truth. You've both been using me. Daniel's jaw tightened. Michael said nothing. Claire took a deep breath. The evidence isn't going to either of you. Before they could react, she stepped toward the edge and dove into the freezing water. The shock stole her breath. But she forced herself under, letting the blackness swallow her. Somewhere above, she heard shouting, the roar of engines. But she didn't look back. For the first time in her life, she wasn't running from the truth. She was taking it with her. Asterisk, if you've made it this far, you know one thing for sure. The truth is rarely what it seems. Claire thought she was just uncovering a family mystery. Instead, she found herself caught between two men, two versions of the truth, and a secret hidden in the very core of who she is. But what happens next? Did she survive the freezing waters of the harbor? Did the men chasing her find her before she could disappear? And most importantly, what will she do with the dangerous secret her mother left behind? That's the beauty and the curse of stories like this. Sometimes the ending is just another beginning. Now, here's where you come in. I want to know what you think. If you were in Claire's position, knowing both Michael and Daniel had their own agendas, who would you trust? Would you take the risk of diving into the unknown, or gamble on one of them leading you to safety? Drop your theories and your what would you do in the comments below. I read every single one. And some of your ideas might even shape what happens in future episodes. And if you enjoyed this journey, the suspense, the mystery, the twists that keep you second-guessing everything, don't forget to hit that like button. It tells YouTube you want more stories just like this. If you haven't already, subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss the next chapter. We release new tales of hidden truths, real-life inspired mysteries, and emotional turning points every single week. Finally, if you know someone who loves a good twist as much as you do, share this video with them. Who knows? They might catch a clue you missed. The past has a way of finding us, but sometimes we get to choose how the story ends.